Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where you get to eavesdrop on your favorite authors without getting caught. I've been stoked to have authors like Angela Hunt, Bill Myers, Nicole Deese, Tessa Afshar, comedian Bob Smiley, and more on the show, and this year I have another great lineup of storytellers and truth-sayers. If you love to eavesdrop at coffee shops like I do, this is the podcast for you. It's where we get real, we get tough, we laugh, and we might even cry. It's where we meet authors on a different level, where every story and podcast episode has its own heartbeat. So hang out with me today. I'm Jaime Jo Wright, your host at Madlit Musings. This is your podcast for real chats with real authors about real life. Today's episode was brought to you by Baker Publishing Group, with Revell and Bethany House Publishing as divisions. We're super excited to be sponsored by Baker Publishing Group and to bring you their fabulous authors and their fabulous lineup for 2025. Be sure to check them out at bakerpublishinggroup.com and also check out their online bookstore at bakerbookhouse.com. Hi everyone, it is Jaime Jo Wright here with Madlit Musings, and today I have with me Liz Johnson. Hi Liz.
Hi, Jaime. Always a treat to chat with you.
It's so fun. I love chatting with you, and I wish you need to write more books so we can chat more often.
I'll see what I can do.
Okay, yeah, just up that book level to like 3 or 4 a year.
Sure, yeah.
So we can have a conversation once a quarter.
Well, I just don't know if I could keep up with you though, because you have like 18 books coming out this year.
Oh, really?
Well, something like that. And I feel like I've pre-ordered all of them. And, as they will arrive, I feel like you're going to have my TBR. Like the top half of my TBR is just going to be all Jaime's books.
Topple over. Oh, I'm so sorry. You don't have to pre-order all of them.
Oh, you don't have to apologize. They are a treat and a delight. So, yeah, I am eagerly anticipating them.
Oh, that's so fun. Well, that's how I feel about your books. We were just talking before we got on that there's some books like, you read them and you enjoyed them. Yeah. And you'll even remember them, but you don't know what you were doing when you read it. And The Red Door Inn, which I think was your first novel.
It was my first full-length novel. I wrote for Love Inspired Suspense before that.
That's what it was. That's right. Okay, so it was your first full-length novel.
Yep.
And it was the first novel of yours that I'd read. And I remember where I was, what I was doing, who was around me. Like I could revisit that moment over and over in my head. It's just so fun.
I love that feeling. And for me, I was listening to the audio of The Curse of Misty Wayfair as I was driving through the Arizona desert at night. It was pitch black. Oh. And I'm listening to this book and I am I'm thinking things are coming after me. I am in trouble.
The desert is creepy at night.
It's creepy at night. And I'm on this long interstate between Phoenix and Yuma where my parents live. And I was driving to visit them. And I was like, note to self, only listen to this book during daytime. And so that's been my, that's my rule now for your books is I don't listen to
practice. Yeah.
Yes. If I'm going to listen to the audio, I'm going to do it during the daytime.
No, I used to visit my aunt and uncle down in New Mexico.
Oh,
and I remember the long stretches of desert. And I remember going through them at night. And the desert during the day seems desolate. At night, it's just downright creepy.
Yes.
It's so creepy. I don't know why. It just is.
And there's no lights on those roads,
Right.
So if there's no other traffic and you're out there by yourself, and especially if there's a little bit of cloud coverage, then you're not getting any starlight, any moonlight. It is pitch black and you can't see into the desert. There's not much out there anyways, but at least maybe there's a cactus that you can see.
And then when you do see a cactus, it looks like some guy standing at the side of the road waving you down. And you're like, no, I'm going to run right into you, mister.
Yes. No, thank you. There's a state prison in Arizona that's right along like a kind of a major road between Phoenix and Yuma. And I just remember as a kid seeing those signs that would say, don't pick up hitchhikers here.
Oh, geez.
And it was always like, are they escaping? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, like you have to put a sign up to warn people, like, what is happening at this prison?
Right. Is this happening so frequently that we need to, be telling people? And I don't know, maybe the signs have I mean, that was 30 years ago and they're still here. Like I still pass those signs.
I mean,
and
it's
I'm
a
just
good
like,
general rule anyway.
right, right. Like maybe don't do hitchhikers, but
especially by a state prison.
Right, right.
But speaking of state prisons, and this has nothing to do with your book, but this is what we do here at this podcast, is we talk about randomness. I grew up about 2 miles away from the prison Jeffrey Dahmer lived in.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing it, like when it all went down, it was all over the news, all that. So I was seeing all that. And then I find out he's living at the prison, which I could literally walk across the hillsides and go up to the fence if I wanted to, which I never wanted to.
No, yeah.
And I remember going to my Mom, what if Jeffrey Dahmer escapes? Are we going to end up in his freezer? I was so scared. I was going to get wrapped up in butcher paper and put in his freezer.
Oh, that
didn't happen. I'm still alive. I survived.
I'm so thankful. As are, all the people listening today, I'm sure, as well as all the, thousands of people who love your books. And
it probably explains a lot now. Like everybody's going, oh, all the lights are going on. That's why Jamie's the way she is.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
Well, now that we've covered state prisons and serial killers, and butcher paper and freezers, because of course I have to throw something like that into a podcast about a romance novel, no less.
It's a little different, but it's fine. It's fine.
But okay, so let's talk about Sometimes You Stay, which is your new release.
yeah. So Sometimes You Stay is it's a return to the Red Door Inn. So for anybody who's read the Red Door Inn series, or is familiar with my other Prince Edward Island books, this one is set again at the Red Door Inn in North Rustico, Prince Edward Island, which is on the North Shore. And it's about Lucretia Martin, who is a full-time travel digital content creator. So she's not a blogger. She's not a writer. She's a video content creator. And, but she travels around the world, and everything she owns is in her carry-on suitcase and her backpack. She does not have a home base. She doesn't have a home to go to, because in her mind, homes are really just a place to collect stuff. And she's not interested in collecting stuff. Okay. And, we learn, throughout the book, kind of what causes her to have sort of that idea, that mentality.
Sure.
But everything she owns is in her roller carry-on and her backpack, all the tools of her trade. So her phone and her tablet and her laptop and all the good stuff that she needs. And of course, in the first chapter, she bumps into Finn Chaffee, who has been in North Rustico. He is a fourth generation there in North Rustico, the third generation owning and running his family business of dog breeding and training. So they breed and train Newfoundland dogs, which are wonderful rescue animals. They're really good in water and cold weather. Yep. And so they are trained for other parts of Canada to go and do that. Anyway, she bumps into Finn at the dock and quite literally bumps into him and ends up, everything she has, including herself, end up in the harbor. And she loses everything. And she is without a
trauma. That's trauma.
That is trauma. Thank goodness Finn and his trusty Newfoundland sidekick, Joe Jr., are there to rescue her and pull her out. And Finn is a longtime friend of Marie, who owns the Red Door Inn. And so he takes Cretia there to the Red Door Inn and sets her up with a place to stay. But she's stuck on the island until she can get all of her stuff replaced. And this is the first time in like 4 years that she's been in any one singular place for a while. And so she's suddenly she's spending time with Marie and Finn and building these friendships that she hasn't gotten to have in a really long time. And so for a nomad, she's having to figure out what it's like to stay still. And for Finn, he's trying to figure out what it is she does. He's not a techie guy. And he's like, I don't understand your job. And
how do you even make a living at this?
Exactly. He puts his foot in his mouth a few times, but he's a real great guy. So,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah.
So now with Krisha, is she overcoming things from her past? Is that what
Mhm.
keeps her kind of nomadic, or is she just adventurous in that way?
She's really overcoming things from her past. So
Okay.
her childhood, her dad was never around, and
Okay.
her grandmother was around for some of her younger years, and then after that, it was just Krisha and her mom. And her mom had lost a lot. She'd lost her father young. She had lost Krisha's father who walked away. She'd
Hmm.
lost her mom, and Krisha sort of identifies that that was kind of the moment where she was like, she's lost so much she can no longer give up anything. And so she
Mm,
starts to become a collector of things.
like a
And that
hoarder
turns into
almost.
sort of a
Okay.
hoarding situation.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
growing up in that, Krisha, yeah, her mentality is very much house is just a place to collect stuff and I don't want stuff.
Hmm.
And so why do I need a house? And so she sort of has that mentality about a house, but also about kind of putting down roots. And in her
Right.
mind, she's kind of like staying in one place is settling for a lesser life. And that's not what she
Oh,
wants.
okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably the concept of family, it sounds like
Hmm.
she's never really experienced a healthy family or
Right.
community
Right.
unit
Yes.
until she gets to
Yes.
the Red Door Inn.
Until she gets to North Rustico and all of a sudden she's discovering like one of my favorite parts of the book is where she like Marie invites her in and they often will chat in the kitchen over, at the counter
Right.
and just, chat about their days and what's going on. And Krisha starts to realize, oh man, this is real friendship. But then Marie is like, well, help yourself to anything in the fridge. Like their
Hmm.
inn isn't really open for the season yet. And so Krisha's the only guest there. And
Sure.
so, hey, like help yourself. And Krisha realizes this is the first time in 4 years that she's had refrigerator privileges. And I just like that's something that I take for granted that I live
Yeah.
at my house, like free reign at my parents' house, free reign. Like I'll go over to my
Right.
sister's house and let me just open the door and, like if I'm hungry or thirsty or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
but she hasn't had that. And I just thought like, what a small thing, but sort of like what a, like the magnitude of that invitation to
Yeah.
you are free to do that in this home because you belong here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's really going to find that putting down roots is creating a place of belonging. It sounds like that's really
Mm-hmm.
kind of the theme of her life is what does it mean to belong?
Yeah, yeah. And also what does home really mean?
Hmm.
Like a home for her, she's always viewed it as a place, as a building,
Okay. Hmm.
but maybe home is more about the people that you're with.
People. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds
Yeah.
good. And then we have Finn. He sounds kind of like the
Mhm.
traditional good guy. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
Or is there things about him we need to know too?
Oh no, Finn is he's a delight. He is a bit of a collector of strays. So
Oh,
stray
I like that.
animals,
Hmm.
stray people, whoever is in need, he's going to help them. His barn is on his property is set up for the dogs that he
Okay.
trains.
Hmm.
But throughout the years, people have discovered that if they have an animal that they can no longer take care of, Finn will take them. And so his barn now has a one-eyed cow.
Oh my
He's got
gosh.
he's got some goats. He's got some bunny rabbits,
Uh-huh.
and he's about to get a few more additions in the book too. And
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, so he very much is just like people around the island. He has this reputation as being trustworthy with animals that he will
Sure.
care for them, and people can trust that they will, that he won't let any harm come to them. And so
Okay.
even if he doesn't know what to do with goats, he will
Yeah.
research it and learn it
Sure.
so that he can care for them well. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and so anyway, so he's sort of a collector of strays, and I like to think of Krisha like it sort of starts off that she is one of his strays
Yeah.
and that he's like, I'm going to care for her and I'm going to make sure that she's okay because he takes responsibility for what happened in the harbor, even though it was entirely an accident.
Right.
And yeah, but he also has his own issues in terms of like he's a third generation running this business and he has dreams of doing something special with it, making it bigger, doing something, but he can't get a loan. He can't get anybody to sort
Mm.
of help him, but he also doesn't want to accept help because he wants so badly to prove that he is capable and able of doing it himself. Like to show his dad, this was like, it was the right choice for you to pass this down to me.
Yeah, like he's earned it, and he's going to be worthy of the family legacy. So he's really upholding that family legacy and that concept of people group. And then Lucretia's coming in going, what is this?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. But also it's very funny because she's so independent, and she's had to be that because she is on her own all the time.
Right.
But also, so she doesn't want to accept help. She wants to pay for everything. She doesn't understand this idea of let me just care for you because I'm your friend.
Sure.
But then Finn has a similar sort of, I need to do this on my own. I can't ask for help kind of mentality.
Yep.
And it's,
I can see that.
so it's like, that's sort of where their personalities intersect there.
Yeah. Now is Lucretia, does she like animals, or is that a tension spot between them two where she's like a no animal and he is an animal?
Oh, she does like animals, but she's unfamiliar with them. So there's a lot of learning, and I will, without giving too much away, say that there is one particular animal at the farm who does not take a liking to Lucretia. And so there's a little bit of tension there, but it ends up being mostly funny.
And if this has anything to do with it, I'm going to guess it might be of the goat family, but we won't go there. I could be wrong.
I won't say anymore.
I grew up with goats. And I'm not saying that that's the animal it was, but we were always doing this with them because they would jump up and they'd try and headbutt. And so we'd give them the fist and they would butt with the fist. And it was always it was fun play. It was so much fun to grow up with the goats.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah.
I love goats. They're a delight.
Yeah. We had one season where the nanny goats gave birth a little early, and then it was a really cold spring. And so we couldn't leave the kids outside in the barn. So we actually brought them into the house, and we had a dining room and kitchen that we blocked off. And those goats were for a couple of weeks running in our kitchen and dining room every day, bouncing off the cupboards, bouncing off everything. And they were so fun. They were so fun.
I visited Prince Edward Island in the summer of 2023.
Right.
And my family, my mom and sister and niece came with me, and we went to a farm on PEI where you can feed baby goats. You bottle feed them, and then you get to hang out with them. And it was such a fun experience. Yeah. And I just, like, all of it just like made me so happy. And I was just like, first of all, I'm holding this goat, and it drinks its bottle so fast that it gets the hiccups. And then I'm holding it and it's hiccuping against me, and I'm like, what is happening? This is so funny. And then as soon as its hiccups were gone, then it's bouncing around, and there were all these Adirondack chairs that we were sitting in, and it's jumping from chair to chair to chair. And finally it was like, I think I better get up or I'm going to get like jumped on. Things are not going to go well. And so it was so fun. And so I used some of that experience in writing. I was going to say, it's fun to
pull on those types of experiences. Now, Newfoundland dogs, do you have experience with them?
Not a lot.
Okay.
But I have several friends who have them. And then I did, some research about training and about kind of how what they excel at and their personalities and things like that. And it was really fun to read about how they are trained to they have just really gentle spirits and generally just really calming. And so a lot of times they're used with veterans or with people suffering from PTSD because they make really good companion dogs. They tend to sort of just bring peace wherever they go. Yeah. And but again, they're very strong and they're big and they're used to the cold weather and they have these big furry coats. So they're really good in in water rescues and up in Newfoundland where it gets so cold. So
yeah. And it does get cold up in those Canadian territories.
Yes. Very chilly.
Yes.
But Lucretia, it's fun because Lucretia has to learn a little bit about that. and
Mm-hmm.
what is it exactly that Finn does? And so, yeah, so it was fun to sort of incorporate some of that,
Yeah.
some of the things I've learned about that so that they
Right.
could,
Right.
so she could learn it too.
That's awesome. Now, her name. How did you come up with her name, Cretia
Mhm.
Martine? Is there a story behind that? Because it's not it's an unusual name, but it's really pretty.
Yeah. 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 It is a really pretty name. My mom used to work with a woman named Lucretia, and
Okay.
everybody called her Cretia. And I always loved that name.
Okay.
I just thought it was a beautiful name. But then when I named her, I wrote out her last name,
Mm-hmm.
Martin. And I thought that's a name, that I hear a lot or heard a lot when I was growing up in Arizona
Okay.
was, but it was always pronounced Martine
Okay.
because it was from, folks who had come over from Mexico and Spanish
Mm-hmm.
speakers. And so they
Mm-hmm.
pronounced it Martine. And, so when I was sort of coming up with Cretia's backstory and brainstorming her, I thought, I'm gonna make her from close, like right on the border where I grew up in Arizona.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm gonna name her Martine, but that's also like a point of learning for Finn. He's like, because Cretia like emphasizes this is how you pronounce my name,
Okay.
and
Okay.
and that kind of thing. And but it was a lot of fun to sort of bring her from like a small border town in Arizona to
Yeah.
really she's traveled the whole world. But if there's any place that's like the opposite of Prince Edward Island, it really has to be the Arizona desert.
I
Like,
would agree with you on
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So yeah, like very, very different. And so anyway, so yeah, it was fun to sort of bring her from this place that I know so well,
Mm-hmm.
having grown up here, to to kind of getting to see the whole world.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was going to ask you that because I was like, if I was a reader, I wouldn't know
Hmm.
just by looking at it to say Martine, I would say
Yeah.
Martin. So I was wondering if
Yeah.
you had made that differentiation within the text of the story so that readers
Yes.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. If you read the back cover copy, you'll just think it's Martin, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
Yeah.
But if
She'll
you spend a
correct
little
you.
time with Lucretia, she'll correct you.
She'll let you know. She'll let you know. No, that is not how you say my
That's
name.
not right. Yeah.
So overall, I'm correct in saying this is a feel-good romance. There's no murder. There's no
No.
suspense, which is sometimes exactly what we need on a summer
Yes.
evening, isn't it?
Yes. I would really classify this as just wonderful escape reading. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna feel like you're getting a little mini vacation to Prince Edward Island. You're
That's
gonna meet
perfect.
some new friends and
Mm-hmm.
also some old friends. If you've read the Red Door Inn series,
Mm-hmm.
several characters from there show up in this book, and in fact, I had to go back and reread one of the books in the Red Door Inn series because I couldn't remember a character's name.
That's funny.
We had a character in the third book in the series, which is On Love's Gentle Shore,
Okay.
and her nickname is Mama Cheese Sandwich, and that's what everybody calls her. But I thought she's not going to introduce herself as Mama Cheese Sandwich.
Right.
What is her name? And
Why
I
did I
couldn't
name her?
remember.
Oh,
So
funny.
I had to go back and skim through and read a bit of that book. And then I remembered how much I love that book too. And just, how fun it's been to sort of
Yeah.
make this whole world of North Rustico
Yeah.
come alive. And just
Yeah.
to see the characters and how they've changed and how they're connecting and what's happening with them now. Because it's 10 years later
Yeah.
since the first Red Door book. So,
Well, and I
yeah.
think that's what's fun about books like this is you kind of develop your own community as a
Yes.
reader
Yeah.
with the set of characters that you've created as an author.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that in reading when I'm
Mm-hmm.
if I'm enjoying a book and I feel like, oh, these are characters I want to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I love going back and just, oh, what's going on in their
Yeah.
lives and what's happening
Yep.
with them. And
Yep.
that's, yeah, I mean, they're friends and we just want to check in with our old friends and make
Yeah.
sure, are you doing okay?
And
And so,
that's a great thing with small town,
yes,
small town on Thursday
yes,
nights here, we go down to the square and got a band playing or something, and people go get coffee, and we bring up our lawn chairs, and
Oh,
you see people, and
yes.
they're people that you share community with, and some of them you share
Right.
life with, and it's just
Yeah.
that small town atmosphere that gets transferred into your novels.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's always my hope and my goal. It's that,
Yeah.
yeah, that people will feel that connection, and then also that they will want that connection,
Right.
because I think, one of the themes of this book, one of the challenges and
Hmm.
struggles is this idea of technology, and that Lucretia has lived vicariously through technology for
Sure.
years
Yeah.
without really building real friendships,
Hmm.
and or in-person friendships. And she has acquaintances and she has online friends, but that there's real importance in having face-to-face community
Yeah.
and having people that really know you. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, so that's it was fun for me to sort of explore that through her
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fun. I love it. So the book is called Sometimes You Stay. It's by
Hmm.
Liz Johnson. It's already available when we're
Yes.
recording this. It's already been released because Liz is a dear and keeps rescheduling podcast appointments with my crazy life.
Hey, no
Um,
worries.
but you can get this book pretty much wherever books are sold. I'm
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Wherever you like to buy books, it's available. It is in ebook, print, and audio as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then if they want to stay in touch with you and find out about your backlist that has to do with the same community in town, where's the
Yeah.
best place for them to do that?
Yeah. Check out my website at lizjohnsonbooks.com.
Okay.
And I've got a list of all of my books on there, as well as you can sign up for my newsletter, which is a great way to hear about upcoming books and also sales that are happening on books. And I try to do giveaways several
Yeah.
times a year through my newsletter too.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun. Well, Liz, this was a blast having you here. And as always, you make me want to travel as soon as
Oh,
I'm done on the podcast. So
and
that's super cool.
well, I highly recommend Prince Edward Island. I always joke that I should have been like their tourism board should hire me, because I tell
I think you're
everybody I
right.
know, you
I
should
was gonna
go,
say,
you should go.
I
It's
think you're
great.
totally. I think, but you should go with me. So let's do that
Okay.
sometime.
Okay. We can make that happen. Twist my
I,
arm. I'm
I
in.
think we would have way too much fun with that. Although I might creep you out a little bit when the sun starts going down. I'll come up with some ghost stories too.
Oh, and then I will. Yes, I'm just going to need a blanket to hide under, and
And as long as there's no state prisons
right,
on Prince Edward
right.
Island, we
No,
should be good.
no, I don't think there are. So
All right,
yeah, I think we'll be okay.
that's good. Well, now that our conversation has come full circle, thank you
Yes,
so much for being with us, Liz. I
of
appreciate
course.
it.
Always a treat. Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap for today here at Madlet Musings. I hope you join us again. And if you want to, be sure you like and subscribe here at your favorite podcast player or on YouTube, because you won't want to miss all the wonderful alerts that let you know when we have another conversation for you to eavesdrop on.